Tucker Carlson hosted Casey and Calley Means on his podcast. This is shocking, but it's something that you need to be extremely aware of. You need to wake up and pay attention to what is happening if you care about your health, your kids' health, and the health of the American people. These are probably the most important 6 minutes you can watch on the internet today. Listen to this.
What can you just give us the baseline condition of health in the United States?
Absolutely. So the word I used earlier, destroyed, is not hyperbolic in any way, shape, or form. 74% of American adults now are overweight or obese. Close to 50% of children are overweight or obese. 120 years ago, when someone was obese, there were case reports written about it.
Yes.
Literally, there were people in the circus if you had obesity.
Sideshow fat. Yeah, it was so unusual.
It was so unusual. It is now 74% of our country. 77% of young adults are unfit to serve in the military because of these issues like obesity. Now let's talk about diabetes. 50%, a full 50% of American adults have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, which is a fundamental issue in how
half the country,
Tucker, have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, and 30% of teens now have prediabetes. This was a condition that no pediatrician would have seen in their lifetime 50 years ago. 1% of Americans in 1950 had type 2 diabetes. We have 18% of teens with fatty liver disease, a disease that used to be in late-stage alcoholics. Cancer rates are skyrocketing in the young and the elderly. Young adult cancers are up 79%. And this is the first year in American history we're estimated to have over 2 million cases of cancer. 25% of American women are on an antidepressant medication. 40% of 18-year-olds have a mental health diagnosis. We have the highest infant and maternal mortality rate in the entire developed world, despite spending 2x on infant and maternal care than any other country. So you have a higher risk of dying as a woman giving birth in America than any other developed country in the world. Autism rates in kids are 1 in 36 nationally. This was 1 in 1,500 in the year 2000, and the screening has not changed in California, where I live.
I just want to linger on that. And the screening has not changed. So
in 20 years,
the definition hasn't changed.
No, 1 in 32 from 1 in 1,500 in California. 1 in 36 right now. It was 1 in 1,500 in California. It's 1 in 22. One of the worst states in the country for autism. So this is just a smattering.
What the hell is that?
And all of these conditions. I mean, and I could go on and on. Autoimmune diseases, infertility is at peak rates. I mean, I don't know how this is not front page news. Infertility is going up 1% per year. Sperm counts are going down 1% per year since the 1970s. Sperm counts are down
continuing
50%,
to drop?
Continuing to drop.
At an increasing rate. Our bodies are crying out for help.
26% of women have polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now, the thing that people need to understand is that all of these conditions are caused or driven by the exact same thing, which is metabolic dysfunction, this core foundational issue of how our bodies on the cellular level function, which is driven by our toxic food system and our toxic environment. These subtle, insidious forces that are creating slow, progressive illness starting now in fetal life that allow patients to be profitable and on the pharma treadmill for their entire lives. They make us sick, but they don't kill us, and then we are drugged for life.
Our food, water, and drugs we put into our bodies are poisoning us. It's costing us our health and our lives. They are affecting our kids and their health. Have you taken a second to think about how much money there is in the chronic health problems of the American people? Do you realize how much money is made off of keeping Americans sick? Why is it that the U.S. government allows for more toxins, chemicals, and artificial ingredients in our food supply and medicines that we are recommended to take? Why is it that if you question these things, like RFK Jr. has, they paint you as a crazy conspiracy theorist? Why is it that our government and regulatory agencies are financially incentivized by the companies that own both the food and pharmaceutical companies? How do we know this is true? The very obvious and blatant health problems of the American people. Yes, Americans have all sorts of chronic diseases, diabetes, Alzheimer's, allergies, autism, etc. And what RFK Jr. doesn't talk about here is the mental health epidemic that we are also experiencing. He mentions neurological diseases. These foods, drinks, and drugs are affecting our brains. Read the book Brain Energy by Harvard psychiatrist Chris Palmer. How is it that when people remove these toxic foods, chemicals, sugars, etc., their brain health and the physical and mental symptoms they were experiencing improve? Wake up, everybody. You need to be on guard with what goes into your body, mind, and soul. Our brains are suffering, and this should piss you off because these powers that be are robbing us of our lives on this earth. And for what? Financial gain. This means a lot to me as someone who has identified diet and the things that go into my mouth playing a major role in how I feel both physically and mentally. A lot of people are suffering right now, and the idea that this is at the hands of political and financial corruption infuriates me. These institutions need to be reformed, and I'll say it again, we need to wake up and get the right people in the positions who have what it takes to make these reforms. This cannot continue to happen.